The tone of what we say is everything in communication. So we have to watch our tone. Tone communicates care, number one. Listen, if you don't care, it's game, set, and match. It is impossible to communicate at the higher levels with a person who doesn't care. And tone tells you if I care or not. If I care, I say, okay, I understand, I'll do it. And what I'm trying to say is, honey, I care. You know, you're trying to tell me something here. Listen, I care. You can see it on my face. You can hear it in the tone of my voice. Care is everything. Listen, I married you because I love you and I care about you. And even if I don't feel that way, it matters to me because you feel that way. You're half of me. And so I care. Big deal. The second thing about care is tone carries, tone carries an encrypted message that your spouse, that either upsets them or comforts them. It's encrypted. Now, all communication is encrypted. All communication is encrypted. And if a woman is going to be able to receive communication from her husband, it all has to be encrypted with security, her most important need. It has to be. In other words, when you're communicating with a woman and she's picking up on a tone of frustration, detachment, insensitivity, it doesn't matter what you're saying. Karen would say to me, where are you? Where are you? And that's because physically I was there, but she knew I wasn't there. Okay. Where are you? And I would say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, where are you? Well, I'm here. No, you're not here. You're somewhere else. You're off doing one of your things in your head, you know. You're at work, you know, you're out there doing something else. And it's, well, excuse me. In my tone, rather than saying to her, oh, Karen, I'm so sorry. There's nothing that's as important to me as you are. You know, you're right. I'm distracted. Forgive me. You're more important. And communicating to her that she's the most important thing to me and responding to her with a tone that comforts her. I didn't comfort her. I just upset her even more. The way, Karen used to say this to me. She would say, I wish I could record the way you talk and hear you and play it back for you to listen to. And you would realize the way you raise your voice and the way you talk to me. And she would say that to me and I would say, well, that's stupid. I don't do that. Just like that. And I mean, I really thought to myself, I don't do that. And I look back on that and think, it's exactly, I was only upsetting her. My response is, your tone is either going to upset her or comfort her. Let me say this now. Women, they know where you are. And they know when you're not there. If you're checked out, if you're at work, if you're off doing something else, if you're checked out, you can be sitting right next to them physically. They know where you are. And when they ask you, where are you? And they're trying to connect, and your tone is one of frustration and anger, and your tone is sending signals of insecurity to her. It's everything. To a man, and this I said this earlier, our biggest need is honor. And everything that a woman says to a man has to be encrypted with, you're a good man, and I believe in you, and I'm trusting God, you know, but I know you'll do the right thing. It's honey, but whenever there's a tone of disrespect, it's just a tone. And again, you may be saying something that's right. You may be saying something that's true, but you just don't understand how sensitive a man is in his ego. Just a tone of disrespect, it's wounding, it's frustrating. And so even though we want to acknowledge what you're saying, and we need to, regardless, you have to understand that when your tone is disrespectful, it makes it so much harder for your husband to receive what you're saying. And so the number one thing that is going to make you successful in communication is your tone. I want to say something, just a minute. Don't ever justify the wrong tone. Don't ever justify it. And make a decision that says this, regardless of how my friends talk to their husbands, regardless of what I see in movies or on the television about men treating their wives or talking to their wives, regardless of the way my father talked to my mother, or what I think is funny, or any of those kind of things, I will never justify a wrong tone because it will always be counterproductive, and it will. Even if I'm saying something really serious that matters a lot, and I'm trying to get through to you, I will not sacrifice the spirit of the communication because God simply won't honor it. And basically, it's faith in God. I was talking to Karen one time, and she complained to me about the way I was talking to her. And I just thought, well, it's just, I just don't agree. And I'm Mr. Wonderful, and everything I say is true, and you would just do yourself a big favor to listen, And that's when she told me, I wish I could record you and you could hear yourself back. And I just thought, well, that's just dumb. That's just really dumb. And I was having a quiet time one morning, and in a second of time this happened. And I'm having my quiet time. I'm reading Ephesians 5, where it says, Jesus washes his bride in the washing of water with the word. And I saw two scenes instantly that changed the way I talked to Karen forever. The first scene was Jesus with me washing his bride, that's us, in the washing of water with the word. And what I saw was Jesus gently taking his hands in a bowl of water and taking it over my head and washing me just like this with water. I've been saved for 38 years and he's still washing me. When you got saved, let me say, he knew you were not a short project. And he's good with that. Do you know that? Aren't you glad Jesus is so patient? And I just saw myself being washed by Jesus, and I thought, he's just so patient. He's been dealing with me for 38 years, and I still have issues. But thank God he's so patient. The next scene I saw was me washing Karen down with a fire hose. And she was just all blown back, and I had this fire hose on like this. And what I realized is Jesus was patient with me, and Jesus thought, well, it'll take Jimmy a while to get cleaned up, and I'm just going to apply the truth and let it have its effect, and just it'll work. But what I realized was this with Karen. I wasn't patient, and I didn't have any faith in God. I wanted to get her fixed. I was frustrated. And it was like every conversation was like, are you going to get it this time? Because I hope you get it this time. Because I'm tired of saying the same thing over and over and over. So my tone was frustrated, angry, and that's what made her feel insecure. So it was that same day or the next day or whatever, I walked into the kitchen and I had something I wanted to say to her, and I was frustrated. But I decided I'm not going to be my typical self, and I'm going to say it kindly once and leave it with God. Okay, so I walked in and I said, hey, Karen, blah, 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 and love you. Just want to say this. It's all, and walk out. Because I just kept gnawing on stuff, and grinding on it. And I would say to Karen, did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? Yeah. Or I said, did you really hear what I said? Just dog her until because I kept thinking, she's got to get it. She's got to get it. Okay, so I said something to her kindly, walked out of the room, and so that day or the next day or something, she came up to me and she said, well, I noticed the way you've been talking to me. And I really appreciate it. And I said, yeah, okay, well, I want to do that. And she said, I really appreciate it. That's what I've been telling you about. Faith in God means this. If I'm speaking the truth, he's on my side, and I don't have to dog you to get it done. If he's not on my side, I'm not telling the truth, and I don't want what I say to work.
Thank you for joining us. Experience the life-changing series, The Indestructible Marriage, on CD or DVD. Follow your interests and get social by connecting with Jimmy and Karen and the Ministry of Marriage Today on Twitter. Become a rock-solid partner today and equip yourself with the tools you need for a successful marriage. $14, $28, or $56 per month. Choose the partnership level that's right for you. Become a rock-solid partner today.